Hello and welcome. In today's video, we're going to explore the complete truth about Bitcoin. We'll talk about what it is, how it works, where it's used, and what the real benefits and risks are. Everything you'll hear in this video is based on verified facts, explained in simple language so you can clearly understand what Bitcoin is and how it operates. This video is for educational and informational purposes only. It is not financial advice and does not encourage you to buy, sell, or invest in Bitcoin or any other cryptocurrency. Always do your own research and fully understand the risks before getting involved in cryptocurrency. We are not responsible for any financial decisions you make based on the information provided in this video. The story of Bitcoin begins in 2008, during a time when the world was facing a major financial crisis. Trust in banks and large financial institutions was shaken, and people were looking for a system that was transparent, secure, and independent from government or corporate control. It was at this moment that a name appeared: Satoshi Nakamoto. To this day, no one knows if Satoshi is a single person or a group of people, as their true identity has never been confirmed. In October 2008, Satoshi published a document online called a white paper, titled Bitcoin, a peer-to-peer electronic cash system. This paper introduced the idea of a completely digital currency powered by a technology called blockchain. Blockchain technology is essentially a public digital ledger. Think of it as a record book that keeps track of every transaction. Instead of being stored in one place, copies of this ledger exist on thousands of computers around the world. When a Bitcoin transaction happens, it gets recorded in a block of data. Once that block is filled, it is linked to the previous block, forming a continuous chain of records, hence the name, blockchain. This makes the system highly secure because no single person can alter the record without the approval of the entire network. In January 2009, Satoshi mined the very first Bitcoin block, known as the Genesis block. This marked the birth of the Bitcoin network. In the early days, Bitcoin had no real market value. People exchanged it mostly out of curiosity or as a technical experiment. Then came a day that is now legendary in Bitcoin's history: Bitcoin Pizza Day. On May 22, 2010, a programmer in Florida named Laszlo Hanyecz paid 10,000 Bitcoins for 2 pizzas. At the time, this seemed like a fun way to use Bitcoin, as it was worth very little. But looking back today, those 10,000 Bitcoins would be worth millions of dollars. This became the first known real-world purchase using Bitcoin and a symbolic milestone in its journey. Bitcoin was never meant to be just digital money. The goal was to create a financial system where people could send money directly to one another without banks, payment processors, or middlemen. Today, Bitcoin is accepted in various parts of the world, and millions of people see it as a potential investment, a payment method, or even a symbol of financial independence. The history of Bitcoin is not just about technology, it's about a new idea that challenges how we think about money and who controls it. Bitcoin is a digital currency that isn't controlled by any bank or government. Instead, it runs on a global network of thousands of computers. At the heart of this system is something called the blockchain. You can think of the blockchain as a public ledger, a record book that anyone can see, but no one can easily change. This ledger stores every transaction ever made with Bitcoin, organized into blocks of data. When someone sends Bitcoin, the transaction is broadcast to the network. These computers, called nodes, check the transaction to make sure the sender actually has the coins and hasn't spent them before. Once verified, the transaction is grouped into a block. Before a block can be added to the blockchain, it has to go through a process called mining. Mining involves powerful computers solving complex mathematical puzzles. The first computer to solve the puzzle gets to add the block to the blockchain and is rewarded in Bitcoin. This is called the reward system. These rewards include newly created Bitcoin, which is how new coins enter circulation. To store or use Bitcoin, you need a wallet. There are 2 main types. 1. Hot wallets, connected to the internet, like mobile apps or web platforms. 2. Cold wallets, kept offline, like hardware devices or paper wallets, which are generally more secure. Every wallet has a public address, like your account number, and a private key, which is like your secret password. The public address can be shared with anyone so they can send you Bitcoin. The private key must be kept secret, because it's the only way to access and control your coins. One of Bitcoin's most important features is that no single person, bank, or government controls it. The rules are built into the software, and the global network of computers follows them together. Since a copy of the blockchain exists on every node, changing past records is practically impossible. In simple terms, Bitcoin works by recording transactions on a secure, transparent, and decentralized network. Mining confirms these transactions and releases new coins into the system. This is what makes Bitcoin very different from traditional money, and why it has captured the attention of people all over the world. Bitcoin is the world's first decentralized digital currency, and one of its biggest advantages is the ability to send and receive payments globally, faster and often cheaper than traditional banking. In the conventional system, international transfers can take days and cost high fees. With Bitcoin, transactions can be completed within minutes, and sometimes even seconds, with generally lower costs compared to banks. Another major advantage is Bitcoin's limited supply. There will only ever be 21 million Bitcoins in existence. This scarcity has led many to call it digital gold. Like gold, its limited availability can help preserve value over time, especially in economies where currency depreciation is a concern. Bitcoin operates on blockchain technology, which brings transparency and security. Every transaction is permanently recorded on the blockchain, and once added, it's nearly impossible to change or remove. This greatly reduces the risk of fraud and ensures trust in the system. You also don't need a bank account or specific nationality to use Bitcoin. Anyone with internet access can send or receive it, making it especially valuable for people in regions without reliable banking services. While Bitcoin's price can fluctuate, its speed, low transaction costs, fixed supply, transparent network, and global accessibility have made it a unique financial option that has captured the attention of millions around the world. While Bitcoin offers many unique benefits, it also comes with significant risks and challenges that every user should understand before using or dealing with it. One of the biggest risks is price volatility. Bitcoin's value can rise or fall sharply in a short period of time due to changes in market demand, global economic conditions, or investor sentiment. This makes it unpredictable and risky for those who cannot tolerate sudden price changes. Another challenge is high market entry volatility. For newcomers, the sudden ups and downs can be overwhelming. Unlike traditional currencies, Bitcoin is not backed by any government or central bank, which means its value depends entirely on supply, demand, and trust in the network. Legal and regulatory risks are also important to consider. In some countries, Bitcoin is fully legal, in others it is regulated, and in a few, it is banned completely. These differences in laws can make it complicated for users who travel or do business internationally. There is also the possibility that stricter regulations could be introduced in the future, which might affect how Bitcoin is traded or used. Security is another concern. Although the blockchain itself is very secure, the platforms and exchanges where Bitcoin is bought or stored can be vulnerable to hacking. Over the years, several exchanges have been attacked, resulting in the loss of users' funds. In addition, scams and phishing schemes are common in the cryptocurrency space, targeting inexperienced users. Bitcoin mining, the process that secures the network, requires a lot of energy. This has raised environmental concerns, as some mining operations consume large amounts of electricity, often generated from non-renewable sources. Lastly, Bitcoin transactions are pseudonymous. They don't show personal names but can still be traced. While this can protect privacy, it can also make Bitcoin attractive for illegal activities such as money laundering or unauthorized transactions. This misuse has drawn attention from law enforcement and regulators around the world. In summary, while Bitcoin represents a groundbreaking technology, it is important to be aware of its potential risks: price volatility, legal uncertainty, security threats, environmental impact, and misuse concerns. Understanding these issues can help people make informed decisions and use the technology responsibly. Many people hear stories about Bitcoin and think it is a magic way to get rich fast. In reality, Bitcoin is not a guaranteed profit tool. It is a type of digital currency that can be used for sending and receiving payments online, but its value can rise or fall quickly. This means it has both opportunities and risks, just like any other financial asset. Some scammers take advantage of Bitcoin's popularity. They create fake investment programs, or profit schemes, where they promise very high returns with no risk. These are almost always scams. For example, in 2021, the U.S. Federal Trade Commission (FTC) reported that thousands of people lost millions of dollars to crypto-related scams. This shows why it is important to be careful and not trust offers that sound too good to be true. Bitcoin's price is known for volatility. That means it can go up a lot, but it can also drop suddenly. Some people have made money during price increases, but others have lost large amounts during price drops. No one can predict the market perfectly. This is why it's important to understand that Bitcoin is not a shortcut to wealth. Using Bitcoin responsibly means learning how it works. This includes understanding concepts like wallets, where Bitcoin is stored, private keys, codes that prove you own your Bitcoin, and blockchain, the public record of all transactions. It also means learning about transaction fees, security risks, and laws in your country regarding cryptocurrency use. For example, if you send Bitcoin to the wrong address, you cannot get it back unless the receiver returns it. There is no bank or company that can reverse the payment for you. This is different from credit cards or bank transfers, where you might have customer service help. Also, Bitcoin is not anonymous, it is pseudonymous. This means your name is not shown on the blockchain, but all transactions are public and can be traced with enough investigation. This is one reason why law enforcement can sometimes track illegal activities done with Bitcoin. In short, Bitcoin is a technology, not a promise of instant wealth. It should be used with knowledge, patience, and responsibility. Before using it, learn the basics, check the laws in your country, and avoid any person or company that claims guaranteed returns. If something sounds too perfect, it's usually a scam. If you choose to use Bitcoin, safety should always come first. One of the most important steps is to use a trusted exchange, a platform with a strong reputation, security measures, and clear legal compliance in your country. Avoid unknown or unverified websites, as many scams operate by pretending to be legitimate exchanges. Always create a strong password for your Bitcoin accounts and wallets. A good password is long, uses a mix of letters, numbers, and symbols, and is different from passwords you use anywhere else. Enabling two-factor authentication, 2FA, adds another layer of protection, making it much harder for hackers to gain access. Never share your private keys or recovery phrases with anyone. These are like the master keys to your Bitcoin. If someone gets them, they can take your coins and there is no way to reverse the transaction. Store them offline in a safe place, not on your phone or email. It's also wise to understand the difference between short-term and long-term holdings. If you plan to use Bitcoin for quick transactions, keep only a small amount in an online wallet for easy access. For larger or long-term storage, use a hardware wallet or another offline storage method to reduce the risk of hacking. Another important rule is, only use money you can afford to lose. Bitcoin's value can go up or down suddenly, so never risk money needed for essential expenses. This mindset helps protect you from emotional decisions if the price changes quickly. By following these steps, trusted exchanges, strong passwords, protecting your private keys, separating short-term and long-term holdings, and using responsible amounts, you can reduce risks and use Bitcoin more safely. We've explored Bitcoin from its history and technology to its benefits, risks, and safe usage practices. The goal of this video was not to convince you to invest, but to give you accurate, fact-checked information so you can understand how Bitcoin works and make informed decisions. Bitcoin is a fascinating part of modern digital finance, but it is not without challenges, including price volatility, security risks, and legal considerations. If you found this video helpful, remember that knowledge is your most valuable asset. Always continue your own research using trusted and verified sources. Understanding how cryptocurrency works is essential before getting involved in any way, and the responsibility for your decisions rests entirely with you. We encourage you to like this video if it gave you value, share it with friends who may benefit from learning about Bitcoin, and subscribe to this channel for more educational content on technology, finance, and innovation. Your support helps us create more in-depth and fact-based videos that can reach and benefit a wider audience. The world of cryptocurrency is constantly evolving, and staying updated will help you navigate it more confidently. Whether you are simply curious about blockchain or considering using Bitcoin in the future, remember this: education comes first, action comes later, and only with full understanding. The journey of crypto is exciting, but the responsibility is yours.